is a motel with a mix of weekly and monthly renters. Tenants pay up to $500 a month to live in these worn and tattered rooms. In July of 2010, the Reno Police Downtown Enforcement Team began noticing a pattern of drugs, prostitution, and other criminal activity here.
I didn't realize how bad it was until we did the undercover operation with the SET team. But we combined forces with the downtown enforcement team and the SET team, and we located two 14-year-old prostitutes that made a deal with an undercover officer, and we found that they had a pimp out of California that was running a ring of prostitutes that were underage. And we ended up making an arrest on that person and bringing the FBI into it because it was across state lines, so it was a huge case.
The laundry list of offenses and numerous arrests scared tenants. This, coupled with complaints of bed bugs and other issues, led police to plan an all-out sweep to address both criminal code and other quality-of-life issues. Police Officer Scott Johnson organized a team of police officers, code enforcers, fire, health, and OSHA inspectors, school officials, and others. The December 1st sweep began with a briefing at police headquarters.
We're here to help these guys out. Now, we've identified criminal activity in these rooms, and we're going to handle that like the police.
The plan was to investigate any possible criminal activity, code violations, and other quality-of-life issues at the Crest Inn. The sweep began by taking the motel owner by surprise.
We've got quite a few police officers that want to come in and just talk with the people in the rooms based on an investigation that we've had, and just to kind of help them with some things that are going on.
The Reno Police formed teams to go door to door to each motel room at the Crest Inn. An investigator for the city's business license division checked the landlord's roster to make sure all of the tenants were registered.
With all the lewdness cases that we've had and the child stuff, those are the major cases we're looking at right now, is do we have ex-felons in the downtown motels that are sex offenders that aren't registered? Because with all of the child luring cases that are going on in the city of Reno right now, we're having major problems with trying to track these guys down who haven't registered.
Another team approached the boiler and mechanical room, while the code enforcement and health teams began a check for substandard conditions. School district personnel watched for truant children. There were other service providers on hand to address potential problems. It did not take long for OSHA inspectors and the city fire inspector to find problems.
Exposed, somebody can get, if you touch it with a broom handle or anything down here, it's probably send you to early grave.
The basement was being used for storage. Stuff was piled high to the ceiling, a clear violation of fire code.
Say that we do have a fire and you have tons of combustibility, the fire moves upward and out, and if you can keep the combustibles further away from the ceiling, it just buys you time. And as you can see here, you're right up against there, and unless they have a 2-hour separation, which I'm not sure they do, you're going to go right into the apartments above.
There was other stuff around that could potentially be dangerous. The boiler inspector was miffed by the system in place and couldn't figure out how heat was getting to the units. It appeared that the boiler wasn't even hooked up.
So I'm not sure how they're heating the building right now.
Later, code enforcers discovered that space heaters were being used as the heat source in the walls.
Just to give you an idea what happened, the OSHA guy went downstairs, our OSHA inspector went downstairs, and he inspected the boiler downstairs. It has a number of issues, and we found that it wasn't working. So when he came up to ask me how are the units being heated, I came into one of the units, and this grate actually goes over the top there, and this is what they regulate their heat with, this little button. The thermostats do not work. We figured that out, which led us to disassemble this unit and come in here. This is the bathroom. This is part of the original heating system here, and you can, if you want to move this way, you can see that there's an open junction box here. it's not a permanent source of heat, so we're gonna have to force him to bring the original boiler back up to current standards and get that running and give these people a permanent heat source, because we're running into a ton of space heaters, and we know how dangerous space heaters are.
Gil Blanco gave the owner a few days to fix the problem, which was a huge code violation. City code inspectors and Washoe County health inspectors checked rooms for bed bugs, smoke detectors, and operating bathrooms. In one of the rooms, the crew found leaking water, mold, and holes in the ceiling.
I just came in here, I went like this, and then all of it just fell. There's water on the floor. Right back over here. Can you see the glare?
And it's bad. Oh,
These leaks. And then it looks like it's trailing out to that little vanity, because it's bubbling there as well.
what kind of health hazard is this?
Well, that could possibly be mold, and that could make you sick.
Code enforcement declared the room uninhabitable and forced the owner to move the tenants to another room. The two brothers have been living at the Crest Inn for quite some time, despite the poor conditions. Reno police officers formed teams to check the identification of the tenants and noticed criminal activity. Police found marijuana and paraphernalia in one tenant's room and wrote a citation. In another case, police discovered that an ex-felon had not registered since he moved into the motel room. Felons are required to register their addresses within 48 hours of obtaining a new address. Police also discovered that there was a sex offender living at the Crest Inn who was not registered. The police arrested one person for possession of marijuana and outstanding warrants. The downtown enforcement team made a huge difference for the residents living at the Crest Inn.
They didn't have a permanent source of heat. They couldn't regulate their heat other than turning on the space heater. What the tenants did to supplement heat was to go out and buy more space heaters. So I can't imagine the electrical bill at this point, but we're going to have him restore the generator back to functioning properly and safely, and have those space heaters removed. And other than that, he'll have some time to fix some of these other general violations that he has: plumbing, electrical. He's got some junk trash and debris stored outside. So he has some work that needs to be done so that these people can live in a much safer environment.
We've worked with the business owner here, who has been very compliant with us today in allowing us to come in and solve and resolve the problems that they've had with many of the complaints that we've had with bed bugs or whatever it may be. We're able to solve those problems. So I feel good about the job that we're doing today, that we're able to solve these problems for these people. We're creating a safe environment for them to live, and we're giving them the quality of life issues that they deserve and that they need.
The 6-month surveillance leading up to the sweep led to a number of arrests, including a major narcotics bust and an underage prostitution ring run by a pimp out of California. Now the owner and tenants are on notice that the police are not tolerating criminal activity here.
Instead of just enforcing the problems and sticking them up at the jail and letting them deal with it, these are real people with real problems, and how can we as a police department impact the community so that we're actually solving these problems instead of just forcing it onto the jail and the court services. And that's one of the things that the police department is starting to do now, is to look at these issues and see what we can do to solve those problems. And that's coming right from the chiefs of police. We have a whole new group of chiefs, and they're fostering these ideas in us. And then it's on us as police officers to take their lead and either work with those things or not. We'll continue up to follow with the owner of the Crest Inn in the coming months and see exactly what resources does he continue to need, and what resources do the people that are living here continue to need. So when this is done today, we don't just walk away and leave them. We actually are going to continue to build those relationships with the community and with the business owner here so that we can work together to make this a safe place and a quality of life place.
The sweep was a proactive approach to cleaning up both criminal and cultural problems.